What's up, everybody? Welcome to the KSR YouTube channel and a new edition of the KSR Happy Hour. I'm Tyler Thompson. Drew Franklin is in Louisville today for the KSR Golf Scramble. So today I'm joined by Nick Roush and Zach Gagan. And we are very excited to be here. We are presented by Country Boy Brewing, but I don't think any of us are actually going to be drinking Country Boy Brewing today. I unfortunately am on a detox, a 5-day cleansing, reset, healthy thing that I do twice a year. And I'm really wondering why I did it right about now. I mean, not only would I love to have a Country Boy right now, but the caffeine withdrawal just hits you like on day one. It's like, I don't even have a ton of caffeine every day. I have like 2 cups of tea in the morning and that's it. But when you don't have it, it hits you like a ton of bricks. So, but you guys, you better have a good excuse for not having a beer in your hand at 4 o'clock.
My excuse is that we had our annual DeSales alumni golf scramble over the weekend, so I heavily imbibed, and it's not like I have to detox, but it's Monday. We got to get back to trying to feel like normal, and it's the last week of fall camp, so it's like, all right, it's about to be back to business. We need to be on our A game. But best believe this weekend there would be plenty of Country Boys consumed. It's just we gotta get to the weekend. We got to pound the pavement to get ready for the weekend. Zach, does it feel good to be back in the grind, the Monday grind? You had some much deserved time off, but you're back in it, brother.
Yeah, I'm back in it. I don't have a good excuse for not having my Country Boy either. It's move-in day on campus, move-in week.
Really,
and I'm kind of in the thick
Thoughts
of
and
that.
prayers.
So it is kind of a mess actually everywhere around here. So I'm not detoxing. I'm toxing, I guess. I'm toxing on a rum and coke over here to kind of just get us through this happy hour. So yes, I'm glad to be back. Yeah, it is classic. This is my favorite cup right now. I use this all the time. It makes me feel like I'm at a bourbon bar or something, just sipping on something nice. Even though this is just Bacardi,
You mentioned that it was move-in day. I think Louisville starts class this week, and I did a grocery store pickup last night. Forgot to make the run. Let me go just pick up my groceries. Well, my grocery store is the one near Louisville's campus.
Oh, man.
And they had a DJ set up right outside of the store and the Louisville dance team there. And I'm like, is there anything more U of L than having a DJ at the grocery store to announce that campus is back? Never change, Louisville.
What were they playing? What was the DJ's set list? What was he going for?
I don't know, but it was way too loud. I just felt like the old man who was, get off of my lawn. And it's one of my many old man moments this week. If you read the Morning Post on Wednesday last week, I talked about my run-in with a possum. Well, at some point while trying to avoid the possum in my garage and pull my van out of the garage, I had this very old, heavy door kind of fall. It was leaning against something. It fell against my van. I went to move it off, and I pulled a muscle on my side. It wasn't bothering me that much. Well, it turns out when you swing a golf club, it puts quite a bit of torque on your midsection. And you're probably going to see me wincing multiple times, just moving to grab a cup of water, because I'm paralyzed from the waist up. If I do any sort of random motion, it hurts like hell. It is the most embarrassing injury I've ever experienced. And this is coming from a guy who once tripped and fell and broke his fingers at a basketball practice. So I have reached a very new low. I also slipped and fell and broke my ankle while going to class when I was in college. So it's a very long list of embarrassing injuries, and I've got a new one. But you know what? We're powering through. You can put me on the SEC injury report, but I'm still going to make it for the KSR Happy Hour.
That's what we like to hear.
Have you started looking into retirement homes yet then, or have you been looking
around? My AARP card is coming in the mail.
Yeah, okay.
This is what I love about the KSR Happy Hour. We are 4 minutes in, not even 5 minutes in. We're talking about Roush's old man injuries, possums, the fact that none of us are drinking Country Boy, but Zach, the youngin' here, is drinking a rum and coke to keep us going. So
I'm 30 now. So
that's right. Welcome to your 30s. That's exciting. You had quite a week off. You enjoyed vacation and turning another decade older. So
yeah, 2 birds with 1 stone.
Absolutely. So The live chat, I got to go ahead and mention them because Roush, your hat is quite a topic of discussion here.
Oh, how they like it.
What do you got there? What is that?
Res Non Verba says, I think 8-4 is the ceiling for UK, but I wouldn't even bet Roush's hat on it happening. So
I love my duck hat. It was one of because it's just a duck, right? But it was one of those things, me and my wife, we aren't big gift givers. We're penny pinchers. And so if we have something that we want, we normally get it. Well, long story short, the Instagram algorithm got me with this one, and I kept bringing it up, and I showed a lot of willpower by not making this purchase. And I'd bring it up from time to time. And this was my Christmas gift, is I had the willpower to not buy another hat. So I've got a lot of them. My wife, you don't need another hat. This was my Christmas gift, was getting that hat that Instagram got me on.
They got you. The algorithm got you. It gets me all the time. All the time. So another topic in the chat, the quarterback battle. That is the top of our docket today. Yep, so today was the Louisville kickoff luncheon, which took place at Churchill Downs, right down the road from Nick Roush. Mm-hmm. And typically with these, you don't really expect any news, but we got some, or did we? So in case you missed it, Mark Stoops was talking about the quarterbacks, praising Zach Calzada, but then also saying, Zach is in a battle with Cutter. And then he went on to praise Cutter and the performance that Cutter had during the scrimmage on Saturday. I think we have that clip. Can we pull it up? And then we'll all share our reactions. Maybe. Bam.
We just tried it and it worked perfectly, didn't it?
I think Zach Calzada as a transfer, he's a 6th-year player. I really like his experience. He's been around a long time. He's played in this league. He's won big games. He was the starting quarterback at Texas A&M years ago under Jimbo. Won a bunch of critical games there. Had an injury. He's bounced around a little bit, but big thing is his experience. He's a big guy. He can make all the throws. He has a strong arm. And he's in a battle with Cutter Boley. I think Cutter is a guy that's a redshirt freshman that we all anticipate the future of this program. When that happens, I don't know. But Zach has been very steady and very good through camp, as has Cutter. But I feel like, if one was leaning one way or the other, I felt like Zach was having some really good practices and kind of separate. And then all of a sudden, Cutter comes out last Saturday and has a remarkable scrimmage and looked as comfortable as he's looked since he's been here, with really putting it all together. We all saw flashes in games and in practice with his ability with his arm, but putting it all together and really having that comfort level and that command of the offense takes some time, and he's getting very comfortable and he's making big gains, and so that's really terrific to see.
All right, Nick Roush, you are a football guy. Do we have a quarterback battle, or Stoops just giving people something to chew on?
I don't even think he wanted to give something for people to chew on. He probably just used the wrong terminology. He gets very upset when, as we in the media, quote unquote, hang on to things he says. It's like, well, that's kind of our job. Because when I saw it initially, I was like, oh, I'm surprised he said that. And then you hear it, and really, it's almost like he's just regurgitating words he said, just in a different way. So I'm not necessarily buying much stock into this whatsoever. And I know that's not like the fun thing to say, but I do think Stoops wants to commend Cutter for his growth throughout the offseason. And I think that was plain as day. If you saw him out there, it's clear. He looks like a different player. He's much more comfortable out there. And a lot of those flashes we saw through his true freshman season, they're much more consistent. I think that's a good thing. But I also don't think it's just like, oh, so he's going to go out and be the starter over Zach Calzada. I don't think that's the case. However, Bush Hamden likes to play two quarterbacks. And it's not just because last year we saw Brock Vandegrift beat up and he had to play a bunch of different guys. Gavin Wimsatt got run, Cutter Boley got run. No. He throughout his time as a play caller has not hesitated to play two quarterbacks. I think you're going to see 2 quarterbacks this fall, no matter what. So I did find it was funny, Zach. You hear some stuff that comes out of these scrimmage, and I do as well. And I loved all of the stuff that was leaked out publicly that Cutter had a great scrimmage when, I also heard from somebody that, it was fine, but it wasn't anything to write home about, right? We're just we just need to play some games. That's where I'm at. We just need to play some games because we can only do the talking seasons dance so long before we start spinning our heads in circles.
Yeah, it definitely felt a little coach speaky from Stoops when you actually hear it. Maybe it's just a case of you want to. Cutter has obviously clearly improved, progressed. What did he add? 15, 20 pounds to his body. He's clearly put in a lot of work. You hear all the reports coming out of spring camp and summer and fall and all that he actually is making progress, and he's getting to the point where it is whatever a battle or whatever word you want to use. Maybe it is a little bit closer than previously thought. And maybe with Cutter's, especially the recent play in the scrimmages, if he played well or not, maybe Stoops is using that to just kind of keep his confidence up going into the season. That way, whenever his number does need to be called, whether it's week 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, whatever, he's kind of ready to go. But I don't really believe that there's any quarterback battle here. It's probably maybe a little bit, like I said, maybe a little bit closer now that Cutter has actually kind of cemented himself as the future face of the program, or someone that they're maybe a little bit more trusting to throw that label on, because Cutter's really only taken first-team reps starting a couple weeks ago. Before that, he'd been taking second-team reps pretty much the entire offseason. So this was never really, and I don't think that was anything against Cutter. I think that was just they knew that Calzada was going to be the guy. So where you have Calzada being the guy from April or whenever it was, you might as well make him have all the first-team reps, all the first-team guys he's going to be playing with. So I think it makes sense from that perspective. Yeah, I think it's nice that Stoops is heaping some praise on Cutter, because it is kind of out of character a little bit. I think someone mentioned that on the board, whereas he doesn't really say stuff like that, especially in this offseason where he's trying to make no headlines. That's kind of a big headline when you're saying that your backup quarterback is pushing your starting quarterback, who's kind of been presumed as the starting quarterback for 6 months now, is pushing him for that job. So it was interesting to hear him say all that. But when push comes to shove, week 1 at 12:45 on next Saturday, Zach Calzada is going to be the one under center taking the first snap. But I totally agree with Nick. He knows way more than I do about what Bush's track record is. But I totally believe that you're going to see Cutter play a decent amount. Nick, remind me from the 11 personnel episode. I think it was either you or Adam put on the over-under for Cutter appearances. What was 4.5 or something like that? And Adam went over.
Yeah, he hammered the over, and I had a 3.5. He was probably 6.
Yeah, so I'm almost in that boat as well. Because when you just look at the schedule, Adam's reasoning made sense. There's a 2 or 3 kind of games against the lesser opponents where you see him getting in there. Maybe a blowout loss or 2 you see him getting in there. And maybe he just ends up being really good, and you just can't help but not throw him in there for certain packages or whatever, like they wanted to do with, or tried to do with, Gavin Wimsatt and them last year. So I definitely think everything that we're hearing about Cutter playing well is true, but I also think that it's still clear cut that Zach Calzada is QB1.
Well, and also, whoever the quarterback is, Kentucky's still going to run the ball a lot this year. So
if everyone's healthy, yes,
right?
Or shoes tied.
Yeah, that's still.
Brian Windhorst meme. We're talking about this instead of talking about how Kentucky's top 2 running backs didn't get tackled in the preseason.
What is up with that? Okay, do I need to be worried about Seth McGowan playing against Toledo? Because I'm starting to get a little worried about Seth McGowan playing against Toledo.
I think this is load management that they're trying to disguise as preventative injury something, which I think is kind of a load of bullcrap. You should want to see if your guys are going to break tackles or not. It's been a good opportunity for Jason Patterson, but if you're going to lean on these guys to be your primary offensive producers, you should see if they get tackled or not in the preseason. And they probably got a little spooked because I'm guessing that Chip, how he suffered his basically season-ending injury was something pretty soft, for the lack of a better term. It's probably a basic play and thought his hand was a little banged up, ended up costing him. So I think that is a bigger deal, that you're going to lean on these guys a ton. And we didn't see him get tackled. But, hey, at least one good thing, Tyler, Kendrick Hall did participate in the scrimmage. He had a great catch. It was a little good on good. And so I would have been really worried if they would have been like, yeah, well, the quarterback play, they're both good. None of our running backs played, and neither did our best receiver. Then I would be like, all right, well, then who on the offense has played besides the line? So at least we got out of that a little something positive out of those preseason scrimmages.
I really like the clip of Kendrick Law's catch in the scrimmage because UK put it on Instagram, and it was one of those moments where I'm today years old when I learned something. And it was, if there's an Instagram carousel of photos, did you know you can put your finger on the little dots and slide it and it moves it, like instead of swiping through. So if you have like a series of photos of a catch, so to speak, like you could just put your finger on the little dots and move it, and then it plays them all. So shout out to the UK football social media team. That one was fun. So we don't give them a ton of shout outs here. So I like to commend, a job well done. So like you said, not a lot of injuries. That's also a good part of fall camp. One injury we did get, Cole Lanter. I mean, you hate to hear about that. He had just, he was a walk-on last year, made the move up, and
Danville
but
zone.
Danville zone. That's right. Danville represent. So I hated to see that, but glad that it seems like we've avoided any other major injuries thus far.
Yeah, I also just hate putting it even remotely out there. You never want to put the bad juju out there, but knock on wood, no major injuries thus far. Tomorrow is technically the last day of fall camp before they start switching into game prep for Toledo on Wednesday. So I'll be there hearing from Bush Hamden in the offense tomorrow. Like it's going to have Thursday before game week starts. But fall camp is one of those things that it just becomes you hear NFL players talk about it, and the reason why, it's hard to have legitimate kind of stories, if you will, because just like a lot of it is the same, and you get kind of bogged down in the routine, the grind of it all. But I did like that they tried something different this year, where last week they took the night off on Thursday and they went to what looked like a legit camp. Like it looks like they did
It looked awesome.
Kentucky
Is that where
football.
the basketball team went last year? Because they also did like a retreat. I wonder if it was like the same spot. Or...
it was like a whole water park situation. It looked like that was like it looked. When they were talking in the interviews, it sounded like they were just like a cabin in the woods type situation where they had a small dock that led out to this giant lake in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. But no, this was like a full blown water park situation that they were hanging out at. But I guess that makes more sense when you've got 100 guys. It's probably need a big place like that.
You can't put them all on a boat, like a houseboat. That'd be really big.
Like what like Mark Pope on jet skis and stuff like that. You can't. Yeah. Although Shy as Pete on a jet ski would be kind of funny to.
I'd pay to see that.
See there, yeah.
Can you imagine making some of those kids trying to pitch a tent? Like what? The sticks would be everywhere. It'd be a disaster. But the part that I loved is that they went to a place that had the blob. And
Steven, do you have that picture? We should look at it.
Yeah, I see you got it queued up.
When heavyweights,
speaking of Pete,
and I know Zach, you're
I still haven't watched it.
I still haven't either.
It's Tyler McGuire. Tyler, you didn't watch Heavyweights? That came out in our prime. No, that is an all-time great rewatchable movie. Judd Apatow's first, I believe.
I do love
director.
Judd Apatow.
And the thing was so they had the blob, and it always looked so cool. But I had never actually seen a place outside of Heavyweights that had the blob.
Oh,
and
dude,
this place, wherever they went, had the blob. So now we need to. That's it. We're having KSR camp wherever this place is, so we can go in the blob. There might be some injuries, but you know what? I'll sign the waiver forms to get an old man injury on the blob. All right, I don't care what it is. I need to experience the blob before I die.
Imagine that moment when She Has Pete lands and then you launch into the air. Like there's got to be some like sheer terror going through your mind.
Because you're completely out of control. Like it's one thing to do a jump. It's kind of like when you hit the diving board or the high dive like the wrong way and it launches and you're like, here we go.
Yeah. Speaking of She Has Pete, we got some like She Has Pete quotes at the luncheon too, right? From Stoops. Did we have one of those, Stephen? He seems to be everywhere these days. She Has Pete. It's everywhere. Like you mentioned, one story about him and it's gone viral. Your great feature on him earlier this year, Nick, it did really well. His comments on KSR for Media Day went crazy. So
I do have it if you want it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Diaj Pete, left tackle, 6'8",
Yeah.
340-ish.
Yeah. Big.
Nice, good-sized young man. If they don't run over him, it's going to take a while to get around him. With that wingspan he's got, but he's also just incredibly interesting. Navajo, raised Navajo. So tell me just a little bit about him.
Yeah, Shiaz, he grew up on a reservation. He's an incredible young man. His story is amazing. But a very intelligent person, very deep thinker. He's a guy that, he's a great addition. As people get to know him and listen to his story, it's really remarkable where he's come from, how hard, he has worked to get in this position. And, I've been around some amazing players. I've been blessed for all these years, and just to be around greatness and terrific people. But he is very unique. He's an individual that I love sitting down and talking to, and he's going to look at you, and we've had a couple dinners together and lunches, and I sit there and he'll just look at me and be like,
Very thoughtful. I mean, you ask him a question, you can tell he's thinking about it.
And I'm looking back at him, I'm like, I don't know exactly what. I'm not sure what to make of that, Shiaz, but right back to you. But no, he's just a great young man. It's just fun, visiting with him. He's, like I said, he's just a deep, he puts a lot of thought into everything that he does. And
I think the point the best way to describe it is that he is an active listener, which shouldn't be so refreshing in this day and age, but particularly when you're in, sort of a media setting, right? And it's kind of, it's a little bit of a performance art, right? That's how they're trained, is when you hear certain things, this is kind of how you should respond. It's like whenever you ask Calzada about receivers, he will never tell you who his go-to guys are. He might shout out the freshmen to give them something, but it's his part of his training. Shiaz didn't have that. And he doesn't really care. He's going to listen to what you're saying and then respond directly to it. So there's going to be a time too when maybe things aren't going well this year, but no offense to some of our TV reporters out there, but there will be sort of like you're expecting him to just take the little bit you said and just run with it. He's not going to do that. Like, you're having a conversation. He's going to have a conversation with you. So that part is very refreshing. And let's just hope that the play on the field backs up the personality, because he is a very fun person to have a conversation with, because they don't make many like him in this day and age.
Yeah, I just wonder what the conversation was that he had with Stoops, where he just looked at Stoops and was like, Like, I wonder what Stoops was saying to be a fly on the wall there. It was probably just something very, innocent or whatever.
Do we think that Stoops has, like, Zach, you're 30 now. You're an old man. You got to talk to a lot of these kids. What do you think it's like for some of these old men who are having to have normal conversations with teenagers? Like, I mean, you got to have a few go-tos that's just like where you are. How do you do, fellow kids?
It's a different personality. You change into a different mode and go into a completely different person. So it would be very interesting, actually, to see how someone like Stoops tries to level with all those kids. It's probably easier with someone like Shiaz Pete, because you can, like you said, he's actually going to listen to what you're talking to and have a conversation with you, as opposed to some of the kids that just don't really want to talk at all or anything. So, Nick, what was the line that Shiaz had in your little one-on-one? He said, some people call us a lost cause. It's like, but I'd argue that lost causes are the thing worth fighting for the most. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's nearly as profound as it sounds when he says it, but the way he said it has me believing that if Kentucky's offensive line is even half decent this year, all the credit needs to go to his whimsy. His personality and aura, or whatever word the millennials or the Gen Zers. I'm a millennial, 30. The Gen Zers are saying nowadays.
He's got great delivery.
Yeah,
great delivery. good inflection. Like he's thinking when he's talking, which
no
also
wasted
sounds
words.
dumb, but yeah.
Yeah.
So if he's the most interesting man on the Kentucky football team, who's the most interesting man on the Kentucky basketball team? Is it Andrija Jelavic, who just arrived on campus Saturday? Could it
that
be?
Transition.
How about that? See, taking over hosting duties.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, as we mentioned, Andrija Jelavic is in Lexington at long last. The Croatian sensation has arrived. Do we think that he just arrived in Cincinnati and Mark Pope picked him up and was like, "Let's go watch tennis"? Because
that's what I'd like to believe.
Yeah, the first picture we got was of them at the Cincinnati Open.
Yeah, and CVG's not really close to that tennis place, which is kind of by Kings Island, but I would hope so because, and maybe it's different where Jelavic is from, but I cannot think of a worse way to spend my time than by watching tennis. Like,
well, you can tell he's on his phone, so
yeah. I mean, no offense to the racket fans out there, but it is a racket. Like it's just so boring to me. Even the high level ones, it's kind of fun for a little bit, but it's like, well, y'all are just doing the same thing for like 3 hours. I'm all the way out on tennis. I can get down with watching some different sports. I'm out on tennis.
Well, it was also like 95 degrees on Saturday, and they're out there in the blazing heat. Like, think about coming, back from or off of an international flight. He's probably been traveling for like 16 hours at least. Your new coach picks you up. You don't know him that well yet. You've only seen him on Zoom and FaceTime. It's like, all right, we're going to go sit outside and watch a tennis match. Like,
that's got to be an uncomfortable plane ride too. He's what, 6'9", 6'10"? I mean, and then you got to go sit in the stands, and then the bleachers are all up on your shins. But to counterpoint, Tyler, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, you're probably going to have some good conversations. I don't know how. Oh, but tennis, they make you be quiet though, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm out. I'm all the way out on tennis. Like golf course, you can at least it's quiet, but you can get away from the quiet areas and kind of cut up and have a good time. That does not sound like a lot of fun. Also, very funny. I saw that the Cincinnati Open just ended after Skinner forfeited or retired, is what they called it.
I was going to say that was a big thing.
He's getting his ass kicked and retired.
I was feeling ill.
But yeah, Alvarez was killing him.
Got a black lung pop.
Hey, shout out!
I love the Zoolander reference.
Yeah, I mentioned that a few weeks ago on Happy Hour. It's you always got to sneak in the Zoolander reference every now and then.
We'll look at our references: heavyweights and Zoolander.
Yeah,
definitely not old people here on this show.
As you can hear, Remy really loved that reference. He's going nuts. But
shout out Remy.
Shout out Remy. So the next day, Jelavic was in Lexington. He shared pictures from the Joe Kraft Center of his locker and the court and all that. So he's getting down to work. I believe it's him and Jaden Quaintance are the only two back so far. Although, if you listen to Mark Pope's interview with Matt Norlander, it made it sound like Denzel Aberdeen is still here too, and Reese Potter. Like, could he just not get these kids out? Like he said he really wanted everybody to go home and take a break because this is really the last break they're going to have. And I guess they just wanted to stick around. So that's a good thing, right?
Well, what was funny about that part of the interview with Norlander is Pope mentioned he was like, yeah, I told everyone to leave, and then I'm doing this interview right now, and Denzel Aberdeen's out there right now getting up shots with Reese Potter. And Norlander pushed back, was like, well, how are, like, if you told them to leave, like, how are they still getting, like, can you actually explain to me how they're still getting in?
Out the gym?
And then Pope just didn't answer that question, just kind of filibustered around it before actually answering. So, but he basically said that, like, he trusts his guys to take a few days off from, or actually take, like, a little break to themselves and not play. But, Reese Potter, he's from Lexington. Like, I'm sure he doesn't really have anywhere to go. Or he could go, but, might as well, like, he's just going to stick around and hang out with family. Quaintance has been here. Jelavic just got here, and then I think it's the 21st, so that's Thursday. According to Jack Pilgrim, is when everyone else returns to campus, and then class starts the 25th, and practice ramps back. I think maybe the first week of September or something like that. So Jelavic is just going to use these next few days essentially to get his butt kicked in conditioning tests and just run up and down the floor, do 1,000 suicides type things. Get himself in shape. I'm sure he's probably in decent shape because his pro season ran until, like, I want to say May, maybe even a little bit. I don't know if it went into June, but it definitely went into May before that was all done. So he's probably still in pretty decent shape. But yeah, they're going to do all that to get him ramped up, and by the time everyone gets back, they'll be somewhat ready to go. So it'll be interesting to see how, like, just put yourself in Jelavic's shoes, where you come over from a foreign country and you're the first one back, and then you're going to be here for a few days, and then all these guys that you've never really met before are coming back to campus. They've already known each other for the last 10 weeks. They've all been grinding together. Like, I feel like that's probably a little bit of an awkward scenario for someone like him to actually have, try to navigate that without feeling like you're the kind of the odd man out. So it'll be interesting to see how. I don't have any worries about Pope, incorporating him seamlessly, but I just try and put myself in the mind of that 21-year-old and see how that would feel if I was in his shoes. So I'm sure it's not an easy situation, but he's here, and that's all that matters. So
yeah, and we don't have to put up with the when is he going to get here questions anymore, or the whole free Enos,
Big Z situation.
PTSD.
No billboards.
No billboards. Thank goodness. I mean, and that was my next question for you all. What are your expectations for Jelavic this year? Is it just icing on the cake, or do you think he's going to be more of a contributor than we imagined?
I'm an icing on the cake guy, but that's kind of just my mindset in general with a lot of these unknowns is, and it's the same thing that applies for acquaintance. It's expect the worst and hope for the best, right? Like you kind of just, the acquaintance, I know the videos of him doing his rehab stuff got people all fired up, but I just, in my mind, it is a roster that is built to withstand some attrition. I think that's a lesson that Pope learned from year one when he was having to play Travis Perry at point guard, start him in SEC play because there were so many injuries. So I don't have the highest of hopes, although it is fun watching some Zoom action and hearing Zach and Brandon break down just what Jelavic could potentially do, because that is a fun icing in the cake piece, right? Where it's like, oh, this is a player that in previous years you would expect to come in, play a ton. Now, 10, 12 minutes a game, and maybe a couple of those games he gets hot and plays exceptionally well. Sign me up.
Yeah, I go back and forth like every week of where I factor Jelavic into the rotation. I think he's going to play like a legitimate role. Like if everyone hits, like if everything goes according to plan, Pope's going to have like 10, maybe even 11 guys that he can realistically use. Not everyone's going to hit, but I imagine that Jelavic, compared to someone like a Jasper Johnson or Malachi Moreno or even a Cam Williams, I'm just going to trust a little bit more that the guy who's played 2 years professionally in a respectable overseas league can come in and make somewhat of an impact early on. And I think part of what will help him is just I think we've talked about it in our Zoom actions and stuff, is he's not necessarily made to play for Pope, but he's got a lot of the skills that Pope is going to look for in like a stretch forward, like a guy that just wants to kind of hang around the perimeter more, shoot, pass the ball. He's a little bit more physical maybe than we let on. So, but we'll see how all that translates, going against grown men in a different league compared to essentially grown men in the SEC. Like there will be a little bit of a physicality uptick. So I'll be curious to see how he handles all that, but I won't be shocked at all by December if Jelavic is playing, maybe not starter minutes, or maybe not even starting, but like if he's playing 15 minutes a game, like making real contributions, and then it just continues to kind of progress throughout the season. I just can't see too much of a world where, I think that coming in late definitely hurts him, and that might be what makes the progression a little bit slower than everyone's hoping throughout the course of the season, but like I said, the kid's played 2 years professionally, and he played well. Like, put up double figures. I think he led the ABA in rebounding, the ABA league in rebounding last year as well. So he's very capable, and he's got plenty of skills that should translate right away to college basketball. It's just going to be a matter of how quickly the adjustment period happens for him, and I guess you just kind of have to have your hope in Pope there. But I truly believe that you bring a guy like him over to come in and play pretty big minutes right away. I don't know if that ends up him starting by the time the season ends or where he is, but I will be shocked if he's not like in the top 8 or 9 of the rotation come March.
That would definitely be exciting. And this summer we got to talk to every player on the roster but him. So part of me wonders, will UK kind of throw us a bone and do like a little media op for him in the coming weeks? Or are we just going to have to wait until media day?
Well, that's another situation where I was like talking about putting myself in his shoes. Is like, imagine being Jelavic. You're going to have every media member in the state of Kentucky coming into Lexington in that little Joe Kraft Center media room to sit there and ask this kid a bunch of questions that he's not going to have the answers to. So if I'm UK, I would honestly, obviously I want to talk to Jelavic. I want him out there, but I won't be shocked if they if they maybe keep him on the back burner for now and let him ease his way into college life a little bit before they release him to the masses.
Can we just keep him away from the burgers for a little bit? It felt like Big Z had diarrhea for a month once he arrived.
Well, on KS Board, everybody was like, take him to the state fair. That'll show him what Kentucky's like. I'm like, no, don't take him to the state fair.
We do not need to get him
corn dog on a stick and he'll be sick for 3 weeks.
Can't get him addicted to American food off the jump. All right, let's ease his body into it before he gets to the good stuff. Right?
Yeah. Well, shout out to Westford Robin who gave us a super chat.
Hey.
So Westford Robin asks, do you think Jelavic will have his 3-point shooting percentage increase under Mark Pope? I would imagine. I don't have that number off the top of my head, but I bet 30. Zach does. 30.5.
30.5% last season.
How many attempts was that?
Solid volume, like one or like maybe two or three a game, not like a crazy amount. Maybe made one a game at like a 30% clip, maybe a little under one a game or something like that.
It's pretty good.
But so yes, I think his 3-point shooting, honestly, it has to. If everything I just said about him is going to pan out, he's going to have to shoot better than 30.5%. So, and I do think that the college line is a little bit closer than FIBA, maybe like 4 or 5 inches, something like that. So it's not a huge difference, but it's a little bit of a difference. So maybe you can bake that in there as well. But if he can get to the 35% range, that's kind of where I'm thinking. That's when the scenario I just all laid out is kind of have that in mind of him being in the above the 33% range. I think that's Brandon Ramsey's kind of magic number is if he can hit one a game at 33%, he's going to be, that's just effective enough to make defenses respect it. And that's kind of all you're gonna ask for out of a guy like him who can still do the other things like he's just tall enough to play make, pass over guys, things like that.
Well, shout out to Westford Robin. That $10 will get us some much needed country boy whenever I'm off this freaking cleanse.
That's a sixer.
I'm oh man, who's the Bart Torvik, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, it's the other one. There's Evan Maya. There we go. I couldn't think of his name. I'm fascinated by his 3-point projections for some of these guys because it feels like he's overly bullish on a lot of players who increase their percentages. But then he's like, well, the data says that's the case. Because if you look, Matt Butler had his best shooting year of his career last year. And when it comes to guys like especially Jalen Lowe, where you're asking them to play in different roles, and that's how you can maximize it. Like, hey, just take less threes and your percentage will probably go up some, right? Like that's part of the formula. But most of his projections are really bullish on how Kentucky will be as a 3-point shooting team. And I don't know if Pope isn't beating that drum about was the magic number 33s he wanted to take a game or something.
That's not happening with this team.
No, but I still think that they can be a good 3-point shooting team, especially if Jasper Johnson and Colin Chandler can kind of specialize in that role. Not to say that they're one-trick ponies, but if they're the sort of dead-eye guys that the other team yells shooter whenever they get the ball, right? Like that sort of player. And so that's where things can open up for everybody else because you'll have a team that's a lot more able to drive into the lane. But you mentioned Aberdeen earlier. He might be the most mysterious player on the team for me because it's like
he's very polarizing. When you like read up and down national takes on like Kentucky's team, they'll pretty much give you an A for every single transfer that's coming in, except for Aberdeen. Like some will view him as an A, some will view him as like a D. Like they just don't really see where he kind of fits in and things like that. I'm just kind of of the opinion that you just take winners. The guy's a winner.
I mean. He won a national championship at 40. He's doing something right.
It's still a small sample. He had a 5-game sample last season against SEC teams where he was the lead point guard, and he just tore it up. Like averaged 15 a game, really good shooting splits. So I see a world where he just kind of slides in effortlessly and maybe even takes on like a similar role that he did at Florida. Like I don't think his stats kind of look the exact same as last year. And if that's the case, I think Kentucky's perfectly fine. But sorry to flip it back to the 3-point conversation. I'm not worried about the 3-point shooting or anything, but I'm not going to be super bullish on all those numbers raising just because maybe Jasper Johnson, Colin Chandler, Cam Williams, those guys can all shoot close to 40% or whatever. They're just not going to shoot enough, I think, for like Kentucky. They're not going to get to that 30 3-pointers threshold. Like Kentucky's best players next season are going to be Otega Owe, Jalen Lowe, Jaden Quaintance, Mo Diabate, like guys that aren't traditionally known as being guys that are going to want to A, shoot 5 threes a game, and B, shoot them at a 40% clip. Like if Otega Owe and Jalen Lowe can be at 35%, making 1 a game, like you're like saying prayers, like thanking people because of that's exactly what you would want. So I'm not worried about the 3-point shooting. I think it'll be fine. I don't think it's going to be anything like last year's team because they just had to shoot threes. This year's team doesn't have to shoot threes, and they're not going to try and shoot a bunch of threes. And like you were saying, Nick, Pope hasn't come out and said any. Like I think last offseason he was talking pretty heavily about trying to get to the 33-pointers. He hasn't. I don't think he's mentioned that. No. Maybe once this offseason he's talked about that, and maybe that's just him learning the job and knowing that if he says something. Like even I like how Matt Norlander gave a shout out in that interview. He said the KSRs of the world are going to aggregate all your stuff. He was like, "You're damn right we are. That's my job. That's what I'm going to do." So I'm going to when you're going to say something like that, or I'm going to latch onto it. We're going to see if you get to those 33 pointers. So he's not saying any of that, and I think that's calculated because he knows that he's got a team that's going to do or thrive in other areas, like being better rebounding and defending, and just more athletic and physical and all that. And it'll make up for the lack, the fact that they'll probably only shoot 23 or 24 3-pointers a game this season.
Well, we have plenty of time to talk basketball, but we need to get back to football because high school football kicks off this weekend. I think I saw that one of the games is moved to Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah, that just happened today, a Louisville game, I think.
Yeah, Shawnee. No one lost in that rivalry. Yeah.
So, yeah, we've got games Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I was surprised by the number of Saturday games. We had the first rankings of the high school season. And, Zach, you are the expert when it comes to that. You are in charge of our panel of, what do we have, 9 or 10 voters?
10 voters.
Across the Bluegrass experts. So who's number 1 in the rankings? Let's break down the top 10 at the very least.
Trinity. Trinity got 9 of the top 10 first place votes as well. Boyle County snuck in there with 1.
Boo, Boyle County.
Boo, Boyle County. Yeah, no Danville mentioned on here. We're Danville Christian Academy. I don't even know if they have a football team yet. I'm sure they will eventually. But a lot of the usual suspects from last year. I think all of the state champion winners are in like this top 10 except for Sayre. Which is the Class 1A, so they don't really get too much love. I think Mayfield and I think Belfry's 1A as well. They might be one of the only few 1A teams that actually made the top 25. But a lot of the teams that you're going to see up and down here is a lot of the teams that you saw last year. Trinity's looking to repeat. They've got a couple of like DBs that are really good, like college level DBs that are.
Alan, what's his name?
Going to recruit him. Alan Evans, I think, is one of them.
LA is what they call him, which is always confusing to me. But he's a junior. There's another.
They got another one. I forget his name, but they've got a couple of solid secondary players there. And then Nick, you know about the Cal kid. He's kind of popped up on our radar more and more. But Cal checks in at number 7. They've got a top 10 kid in the entire country.
Yes, Kellen Hall. All right, let's peel back the curtain a little. When we get the notifications in our On3 Slack channel, top 10 rankings countdown, usually that's just in one ear out the other, right? Like, come on, what are we gonna mess with these top 100 rankings? Kentucky's not getting these guys, right? Well, see number 7. I'm scrolling through. I'm like, is that Louisville, Kentucky, right there?
Does that say
Cal? And I remember before Vince did his little flip, he was telling me that Chris Vaughn had some dudes. Chris Vaughn does have some dudes that are working out for him. Yeah, and it's one of those things. I feel like over the years you see the ebbs and flows of talent where it's never really the lack of high quality guys. It's just the depth of them. And there's a lot of high quality guys because Kellen Hall is the number 7 player in the 2028 recruiting rankings, and he's one of 3 guys that are in those rankings. 3 from the city of Louisville. One of the kids actually transferred to IMG this summer, Man Robinson.
Yeah.
Which, I mean,
2 N's, I think, on Man. N-A-N-N. Man.
If you name your kid Man, he's got to be the man. You want to be the man, you got to beat the man. But the other development that I was shocked to see is that Atherton has football players.
I didn't know Atherton had a football team.
I didn't either.
Atherton was the team that Trinity would beat 66-3 every year. And now Graydon Reed is top 40. in this recruiting class. They've also got another kid that's in the two kids that are Power 4 conference recruits in the 27 class, and Garyon Hobbs and Xavion Meads. So I don't know who the coaches are that got there that Chris Vaughn's like, hey, you should probably go there for public school. And you know what it is? It's the Jack Harlow effect.
I was going to say, I knew Atherton. I knew Atherton
that's all
for some reason,
Atherton.
and that's it.
And that's the Jack Harlow connection, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I never even knew where it was, right? Like, I grew up here. School. It is in the Highlands. It's like this cool, big old building, a lot of facilities. But I guess Jack Harlow, he got butts in the seats, and they got themselves a football team. So
Atherton, funding their revenue sharing.
No longer an easy W on those schedules. But one thing I will say, because like high school football, like it's fun just to like have it back, right? You know, you get to go out, you get to see some pads popping. But Matt Ponatoski, he's playing his teams. They're hosting Trinity at Mount St. Joseph the Friday before the Ole Miss game. So we'll
have someone there.
Yeah,
I know that
probably
there's plenty of opportunities to go see him. Like when they play X, that'll be a big game. Moeller versus Cincinnati St. X. So that's the big rivalry game. But like they play St. Ed's, they play all the powerhouses. But if you want to get the Kentucky flavor, they're playing him at Mount St. Joe's that Friday night. So we will certainly be on Ponatoski watch throughout his high school football season, which starts a week later in Ohio. They're a week behind. They end the same time. Which quickly, can we just make week 0 the start of college football season?
Like, I would be beyond happy with that. I mean, I'm looking at the week 0 slate, and I'm like, oh, I would watch that, and I'll watch that because it's football. But it'd be much nicer to just have all of the football here.
It's just like the season's already real. I know it's really long. Why extend it? But the season ends too late. Let's just move everything up a week early. I know that people would be upset if there weren't rivalry games Thanksgiving weekend, but summer sucks. Like, just help us get there. Like, just let's get there quicker. Come on. Farmageddon's going to be fine. You know, Kansas State, Iowa State, but like, come on, give us the full thing. I don't want an appetizer. Give us the main course.
Farmageddon is such a great name. I love that nickname. I'm a big fan. Big fan. Are there any big matchups this weekend? Who do your all's teams play? I know that Danville hosts Fort Knox on Friday. Danville did not win a game last year, we're rebuilding, but we've got a new coach.
Rebuilding.
Phoenix had a really depressing stat too. I think they only scored 13 points or something like that last year. It was a very depressing stat.
It ain't great, but we're on the onward and upward. We're moving on.
We'll say Phoenix is going to be at South Warren, Bryan Station. South Warren checks in at 15. Bryan Station is like a receiving votes team. That's at LCA. I think they're doing LCA always host their doubleheaders. Start season, so I think that's the first game. I forget what the second game is. I think it's a better, maybe more like top 25 base matchup. But yeah, so we'll have Phoenix will be out there. I might be out there with him as well for that one too. I think
North Hardin plays LCA in the other game.
Okay, there it is. So that's and LCA is a top 20 team. They're 18 here. North Hardin, I don't think they received any votes or anything yet. So, but yeah, it's coming fast. So I think it's going to be 95 degrees on Friday night. So we'll see. How this plays out too.
Prepare for a lot of postponements. I saw a couple games. They got moved back to 8 instead of 7. So I'm sure that will be happening across Kentucky. Paducah-Tillman against McCracken County. I know Tillman's kind of taken all the talent, but that used to be a huge game that still kind of could be.
I think Tillman has another really talented offensive lineman as well, a year below Jarvis Strickland.
Chattanooga pipeline.
It's
alive and well.
Tennessee. They got some. They know what they're doing in Paducah. I'll tell you that about feeding their football program.
Pikeville Cal is going to be a good game in Louisville. Pikeville, they operate under the "we're going to play everybody" sort of deal. And my DeSales Colts are at Oldham County week 1, so hopefully they can.
Who's Dunbar playing, Nick? If you got the schedule pulled up,
got it pulled up. Give me 1 second. They are against Wayne County at Somerset in the Alton Blakely Bowl.
I'm reading through some of the names of these bowls. We've got
there's like an ecampus.com bowl.
Yeah, the Wildcat Chevrolet Bowl, the Death Valley Bowl, the Mingy Beef Jerky Bourbon Bowl, which that's a great name. Great name.
Can't ever miss the Mingy Beef Jerky Classic Bowl, ever.
Yeah. I'm a little confused, too. They aren't playing the Rafferty's Bowl this weekend. Is that week 2, I guess?
No Rafferty's Bowl?
because that's usually the game
that's
at
Bowling Green. Bowling Green usually hosts that.
That's like some of the biggest game. No Rafferty's Bowl this year. What's Oscar Combs going to do?
What's he going to do without those croissants with the honey drizzle? Oh, I love Rafferty's. Rafferty's is really good.
Shocked it's still open, if we're being completely honest.
Really? The one in Nashville is like always.
You should see the one in Lexington, Nick.
But it's the only one,
Exactly.
Bowling Green's got one. It's always crowded.
Bowling Green has all of the chain restaurants. Bowling Green is the chain restaurant capital of the world. They have every chain. There's still a Ryan's there. Is it Ryan's or Ponderosa? Either way, I think they've got the last one of them.
They've got everything. That Scottsville Road and Bowling Green, they literally, it's the most fast food chain restaurants per capita, right? Like I think there is some study that came out with that.
My dad, he traveled the state for years for his job, and he had fun facts about pretty much every town, and that was his fun fact about Bowling Green that he would share. Most chain restaurants per capita.
Bowling Green is getting another chain. They're getting a Publix. That's big news for Bowling Green. So they're excited about that.
It was a big deal here in Lexington when it opened.
Oh, so. Publix sucks. I hate Publix so much. I don't care.
I'm in line for it.
I'm there to grocery shop, and they don't also, I'm not an idiot. I know that the name brands and the generics are the same, and they don't make generics. Publix, make some damn generic food, by God. I don't want to pay name brand prices for my groceries.
I've had Publix brand stuff before,
but it's few and far between. It's not like they only have selection. It's exactly. You're exactly right. No private selection hummus. The
hummus.
All right, we're getting off the rails. Let's get some KS board questions and get out of here. All right, Steven, let's see if you got them pulled up.
Oh, somebody's offering us Mingy beef jerky at cost.
Man, I don't think that's on the Clinton, sadly.
I don't have any graphics for that.
Okay, I can just read them. I've got them. South End Josh asks a question that we talked about a little bit earlier. This is for Nick. He says, just how short is the leash on Calzada? If they're winning games, but it's in spite of his mediocre to below par play, but Cutter has looked better in the scenarios he's been put in, do they elevate him to a full-time starter? By what week do you think that decision is made?
Honestly, I feel like an idiot if I try to predict it, because I would think that they would not put Cutter Boley in a bad situation. But in his first start, he went 0 for 6, or his first action. Exactly. 0 for 6 at Florida, pick 6 first play. I mean, Texas. When they did all that. Yeah, and then Texas in the second half, but he played well. So, honestly, I feel like you just got to get a magic 8 ball to determine when Bush Hamden's going to sub quarterbacks, and you'll probably be just as good off. So, in my mind, the best case scenario, and the conventional wisdom says you break the glass in case of emergency only after that Tennessee game, because their defenses should be pretty good. And then you've got a pretty palatable stretch at the end of the season that's winnable. But I think that would be silly. Just roll the dice, and you never know when he's going to decide that it's Cutter Boley time.
Fair enough. All right. We're switching to the other sport, basketball, with this one. Connor R. asks, the Monstars invade Earth and are planning to destroy it unless you beat them in a basketball game. What all-time Kentucky lineup are you going with to save Earth? Choose your starting 5, a 6-man, and a head coach. Zach, this is all you.
All right, so the Monstars, they don't play fair. So you have to kind of get some dogs, if you will. So I think DeMarcus Cousins is probably an easy pick.
Yeah. Is Anthony Davis one of the Monstars? I know he was a Monstar in the second movie.
He can be our Monstar.
Oh my God, I forgot that they made a second movie. Dude, I forgot that I watched it.
I loved Space Jam. It was, it came out.
The second one pretty
hard. Gosh. Because that's one, I show my kids the first one. I grew up with it. I loved it. I had a Toon Squad jersey.
I have one right now in my closet.
The second one was about as bad of a movie as you can make. The first movie was a Looney Tunes movie with Michael Jordan. The second one was a LeBron James movie with the Looney Tunes. It was so bad. So I forgive you for forgetting that he was one of the Monstars. But yeah, we'll include Anthony Davis on this team.
I think he definitely, just for the pure sake of the fact that he was kind of the unicorn before the unicorn became a thing.
Yeah.
So Anthony Davis, DeMarcus Cousins, Nick, and if you all have
Shea. I mean, he's MVP.
This is all time, so we could pull in like some.
I'm just trying to think of like big, strong dudes who could just push him around. Like DeAndre Liggins, is that someone? Like, do you want him blocking up the Monstars?
Jamal Mashburn. There we go.
Yeah.
Jack Goose Givens, because he's a good scorer and he's really lengthy too, so he can technically be like a 2 guard, even though he's more of a small forward. Maybe we have Goose coming off the bench. And who would be the hottest?
I like Tyler Ulis.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah.
There are a lot of good guards to choose from.
He would go into the legs of all the monsters, you know.
Yeah. Boom. So I think we got a good 6 there.
The coach?
What about the coach?
The best coach would be. I think Calipari probably.
It feels like he fits that bill.
He would embrace that one.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like Danny DeVito too. Like he's a cartoon. Danny DeVito in that movie is a cartoon version of Calipari.
Wait, Danny DeVito was.
I hope Cal's not watching this to hear that comparison.
Oh, Cal, he blocks out the noise, Tyler. He doesn't pay any attention to anything. But yeah, Danny DeVito was the voice of the bad guy that sent the Monstars to Earth.
Oh my. Okay.
Yeah.
So he didn't actually show up on screen though, did he?
No.
Okay.
The best guy who did was Stan the Man. What's it from Seinfeld? Seinfeld.
The obnoxious neighbor that's not Kramer.
Yeah, Jurassic Park too, and he's
I'm forgetting his name right now.
Newman. Yeah, Newman. He showed up in the jersey. Right. That was funny.
Yeah. Okay.
Gosh, that was going to kill me if we couldn't come up with Newman.
All right. Well, I think that's a pretty good squad. I think that we would beat the Monstars. We will move on. Richmond Bramblett, who is watching, he had a question. What's the best gift that you've ever given? So, Nick, you might have had it earlier when you talked about giving yourself that hat. So,
well, that was the surprise from the wife, so she gets the word for that. The year she was pregnant with our first one. So, and her birthday is right before Christmas. So normally, like, I kind of, you get your birthday on Christmas, you do a little bit of BOFA situation, or we will do a Christmas related function. So that year I did the 12 days of Brookmas. So each day she got a different gift. And because I was like, kids they're going to take up all the Christmas from here on out anyway. So some of them were like silly. Like it was like Harry Potter socks, where it was like you got a different one for each day. That was silly. But like we did a Christmas Carol play one day. So like each day was something different. So that's probably up there for my best list of gifts. I did not give her any live birds, which
shout to the office.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, I've given some nice gifts over the years. My husband and I, as we get older, and you guys will probably do this as you get older, you tend to stop caring about like material things as much, and so we're like focusing on giving experiences.
Yeah,
so that's the move. Like
concert tickets is a great gift. Yeah,
concert tickets was going to be my example. So for my husband's birthday this year, I got him tickets to see camp at the outdoor amphitheater in Nashville in a couple weeks, actually. So I'm excited about that. So dinners, concerts, experiences, way better than like socks. Although I do love Harry Potter socks.
So similarly, my parents' birthday, their birthdays are on back-to-back days, 5 years apart, and it's right before the NCAA tournament, or usually during it. It's in the middle of March. So, so I gave them tickets to the St. Peter's game. And when I also got him tickets to the SEC tournament this year, and when we blew that lead against Oklahoma, I was like, I'm never going to be able to give them Kentucky basketball tickets ever again. So shout out to Otega Oweh. Yeah. I can go back to that well, because that was an easy well to go back to. Like, here's some SEC or NCAA tournament tickets. I thought there for a minute we were going to have to completely nix that from the board forever.
Well, I'd never covered a tournament win in my time as KSR, so when that whole comeback was happening, I assumed I was the whole reason that everything was going poorly, not Nick Roush's gift giving. So I'm glad that we're both in the clear.
Peak's video of him watching it backstage is one of the best things that he's made during his time with KSR. Like, just him, because I've
when all the players are coming by.
I've been to that underbelly and I've seen that room, and I can just imagine it. It's late at night. super late. It's empty, and he's just down there like cussing while he's watching his phone. It's so funny.
Oh, I've seen it with my own eyes.
It's so good.
I will say Steven's recap video of that Oklahoma game I watched several times.
It's so good.
Afterwards, it was very well done.
Free plug. Subscribe to the channel. Do it.
Yes. All right, so we'll keep going. Wildcat Larry asks an off-the-wall discussion question. What is your favorite NFL uniform, and you cannot say your favorite team? This is a great question.
The Bengals all whites. Those are.
That's a good one.
Yeah, those are sharp.
I go more classic with the uniforms and very traditional. I really like the Packers uniforms. I mean,
just regular, yeah.
Yeah, they're chill. And like I have the Randall Cobb one from when he was there for so many years. That's like one of, I guess I have a Titans uniform, but the Titans uniforms are meh.
Yeah. Ooh, the Oilers. When they do the Oilers, those are pretty cool.
Those are nice. That's like the baby blue, right? Got a little baby blue mixed in there.
And with the red, yeah.
I feel like the Chargers kind of cheat with their combos too. And, you know, like they're like the Oregon Ducks of the NFL. So like I love them, but they have so many different combos that I'm just, you know, it's almost become a bit, even though those are pretty sweet.
I like the Dolphins. I like the teal.
Yeah, it's good. Especially when they have the dolphin like on the sleeve where he's got the helmet on. That's a good look.
I still find it hilarious that the Cleveland Browns just like there's nothing there on the helmet.
Just solid brown.
The color, yeah.
Like Cleveland.
I guess their logo is just the helmet, right?
It really. Have you all ever heard of the term nominative determinism?
No, but I'm learning it today.
I'm about to.
So that is the thought that if you give your kid a certain name, then they will become the name that you give them. So if you give them like a strong name, it's going to become a strong person. So the Cleveland Browns prove that nominative determinism is in fact true because no franchise embodies just brown, mediocre, blah more than the Cleveland Browns.
Have you all ever been to
cash money or something?
There you go. Have you ever been to a Cleveland Browns game?
I actually was supposed to go because my wife's family, they're all Browns fans. So I was supposed to go one year, but it was just we had too much going on, and so they ended up using the ticket without me. But yes, my wife, I don't feel bad for them because they're all Ohio State football fans. So it's like
they know good football.
Right. It's like Falcons fans. Like you watch the Bulldogs win on Saturday. I can't feel bad for you that you suck on Sundays. You know?
Yeah.
I went to a Cleveland Browns preseason game. It was Tim Couch's first year.
Oh,
and
nice.
That was really, really fun. And, you know, I forget what age I was at the time, but I loved it. I got like a dog pound dog dish. I was all in on it. I had like a towel. I had a Tim Couch jersey. So, you know, color me very sad that didn't all work out as well as it could have. But it did save me, you know, from a life of cheering for the Cleveland Browns, I guess. So, you know, the Green Bay Packers, big upgrade. But okay, let's see. Last question from Finnegan Ham. What is the largest fish you've ever caught?
So I saw this one and I was trying to rack my brain. I've definitely gone fishing before when I was like in my younger days, so I know I've caught one before, but I have vivid memories, and I was actually just talking about this not too long ago for whatever reason. Caught a lot of crawdads with my bare hands when I was a young boy, turning over rocks in the creeks over in Versailles, you know, back in the day when I was at summer camp. So definitely caught a lot of crawdads. I'd say the biggest one was like that big, you know, a monster. Threw it right back in.
That counts.
Yeah,
that was my only, I think I've caught fish before, but not really.
Yeah, I don't really have vivid memories of catching fish. I went on one of those deep sea fishing things on a trip to the beach one time. It was so depressing because we didn't even catch a fish. It was like you go out, you get excited.
Deep sea watching.
Yeah, like you have like all the fancy fishing gear and they really talk it up, and then you catch absolutely nothing. So that was a big letdown, and I got seasick. So 10 out of 10
double whammy.
Yeah. But Nick, come on, you had to have caught it.
Yeah, I had. The thing is, though, is usually it was bad news because at our small lake is more like a pond. So you're at your best bluegill crappie fishing. I've caught some bass, none like that. Oh, this is going to be a trophy. But the biggest are usually a catfish, and then when you catch it, it's such a pain in the butt to get off the hook. They're nasty and they can get you with their whiskers and all that. Yeah. So like that's probably the biggest thing that I've caught. And it's usually one of those where it's like, I need some help down here. So, but it is fun. Like my oldest, he loves to go catching bluegill. Like it's his favorite thing to do. So when they're hitting and when they're not, he still likes casting. So he has a good time with it. But not the biggest fishers of men.
Yeah, I wish I could get into fishing because we have the lake house and people fish on Barron River all the time. Like we see people there, they're lined up at the boat ramp every morning. It looks really fun and really relaxing.
You can get alligator gar there too. That's one of the few places. Or is that Green River? I think it might be Green River. I get the two mixed up. They're close by. I've been told the best fishing though is in the springtime, and we got things going on.
Busy around there.
Well, and I belong to like a Barron River Lake Anglers Facebook page for some reason. Like it has like, conditions on the lake or whatever. But it gets really gross because they share like pictures of the catfish that they noodled and like they're like holding them and they look just disgusting and no thanks.
Yeah. I will shoot me before I will ever go in and put my arm in some hole to try to catch a fish.
No, thank you.
My God. It's terrifying. Ugh.
It would take a lot of country boy for me to do that. And even then. All right. Well, we should wrap it up. We went well over an hour, guys. That was fun.
We did it. Yeah.
And we've got some programming changes to tease. So next week is game week. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of shifting into game mode. The KSR football podcast will return on Monday afternoons. I will let Nick share the news about that maybe a little later this week.
Very exciting.
Host.
We have an NFL draft pick joining the show.
Woo!
A first for the KSR football podcast.
That is exciting. So with that, KSR Happy Hour is moving. We're moving to Thursdays, which kind of makes a little more sense for a happy hour to be on a Thursday afternoon than a Monday afternoon.
Thursday's the best day to drink, in my opinion. You're just starting the weekend early.
Right. So we'll be moving to Thursday afternoons at 4:00, and we'll be here. We'll preview, talk on everything that happened in the week and then preview the weekend, the game versus Toledo. So very exciting. Maybe we'll have some stories to tell from the KS Bar soft opening on Saturday night. Am I going to see you all there?
You sure will. Yes. I'm very excited for that.
Exciting. We'll have some country boy there.
Sauces. Definitely.
I'm looking forward to it. So, and also coming out later this week, hopefully a exclusive one-on-one with Jasper Johnson and his family. Stephen and I sat down with them a couple weeks back. Excited to roll that out. It's a very cool and fun conversation about Jasper and his family. Obviously, his dad, Dennis Johnson, a star at Kentucky, and his grandfather, Alvis Johnson, a legendary high school coach in the area who passed away a few years ago. So very excited to share that. And until then, guys, cheers. And go Cats and go Country Boy. And we promise we will be drinking Country Boy next week.